Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Meditation with Agni James. This is actually going to be philosophy and meditation with me today. I am Agni James, and grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be your meditation instructor today. How is everyone doing today? Is everyone having a wonderful day? Hey, Roko Hemda. Good to see you. Yeah. How are you doing today, Roko Hemda? Danny John, you're doing amazing. Excellent. All right. Cool. All right, everything's looking in order. So tonight we're going to discuss a little bit of philosophy, and then we are going to meditate. Awesome day, JT Farms, huh? Cool. I'm glad you're having a good day as well. I'm glad you all made it. This is important. I'm trying to grow this channel, and all your support is much appreciated. So thank you so much, everyone. Much appreciated. Okay, so there's a lot. I'm going to give you a few options today to discuss. So for philosophy, there's a lot of different things we can talk about. We can talk about identity, which is pretty cool. We can talk about what it means to be a person. We can talk about Kant's distinction between the phenomenal world and the noumenal world, which I like to bring into the meditations as well. What would you guys like to hear about today? What would you want? What kind of philosophy you want to hear about identity? Okay, now identity is a very interesting and frequently misunderstood. You're here. Awesome. Personhood. All right. Well, we got a lot of things going on here. I'll tell you what. Maybe I can brush on both of them. Personally, I'm a big philosophy of mind guy. I like philosophy of mind. I like metaphysics, and I also like philosophy of science. When I was in grad school, those were my three areas of concentration that I focused on the most. I think those are the most important to me, because the thing is how the world works, like what the actual fundamental nature of reality is gonna play into every single thing we do in our existence, right? If we're wrong about the fundamental nature of reality, then we're not even being productive here, right? We need to really hammer out and understand what it means to exist before we can really go out and find any truths in the world. So that's something that is very close to my heart and very dear to my heart, to try to figure that out, to try to figure out what it is. What is the substance? What is the essence, the foundational essence of reality, right? Okay, so let's go with frequently misunderstood personhood and Danny John's identity. I think those are both two really good subjects. I'm going to touch on both, and I'll try to bring them together. We'll start. We'll start with personhood. Personhood seems like a good place to lift off from. Okay, so there are four prevailing notions of what it means to be a person, and when people talk about personhood, they want to know, well, okay, what are the fundamental attributes of being a person? So, like, what are the necessary and sufficient conditions one must hold as far as attributes in order for that person to be considered a human being, basically. So, okay, so one of the notions is that the person must have a soul. There must be a soul. That is the fundamental nature of personhood, right? And that kind of ties into the Cartesian dualistic notion that came from Descartes, where Descartes said there's two substances that exist. There's mind and there's matter. And then he said that the mind is kind of spatio-temporally located around the head region, and then matter is just the matter, right? So he believed there were two separate things. There have been a lot of problems with Cartesian dualism, and a lot of philosophers have raised a lot of crazy objections. Not crazy, actually very strong, cogent objections to Descartes' dualism. But it's still something to think about. there are some new philosophers. When I say new, I mean in the last like 15, 20 years. These guys named Hasker and Lowe came out, and they promote a new type of dualism that they feel gets over some of the objections that were raised against Descartes' dualism. So that's kind of something neat to keep in mind. Let's see, Danny, John, you say different dualism than the dualistic framework of. That's a really, really important thing. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the dualism that Descartes in Cartesian dualism was strictly mind and matter. And when I talk about the dualistic framework in which we live in, it does separate the physical world, which would be like matter in Descartes' terminology, but it also separates something that's not quite mind. Descartes' version of mind is very different than what we currently believe. Currently than what I talk about as far as mind goes. When I talk about mind, I'm talking about the actual essence of the person, and more of like the foundational being of the individual. So that's kind of what the difference there between the two. Okay, but anyway, so we have the dualistic notion of identity, right? So we have that, and then we also have the nihilist route, and that's kind of cool, right? So some people are like, oh well, the foundational essence of a human being is that individual's soul, and they would be the Cartesian dualist, right? They say they believe there's a soul. There's a soul out there that they want to, that defines a person. And then some people will say, no, there's not a soul. I don't believe in a soul. I believe that there actually is nothing to make someone a person. That there is no such thing as a person, and that we are just we don't exist. Now that's kind of an interesting concept, right? For someone just to say, well, we don't exist, right? And that's the neuro-nihilistic notion, right? And that's a kind of an interesting thing to think about. We typically don't ascribe to that view very much, right? Because in Western culture, well, at least those of us in the West, right? Because Western culture doesn't kind of like the contradictions in the Taoist thought and all that stuff like that. But Buddhist culture would very much be in tune with the neuro-nihilistic perspective, in which there is no self, there is no personhood. We are not even the thinker thinking our own thoughts, right? Now that's pretty amazing, right? And this is actually really cool. So that's one way to get around Descartes' famous cogito, right? So he said, I think, therefore I am. He was famously touted for coming up with that, right? And that was in response to skepticism, which is kind of neat, right? So during Descartes' time, everyone was like, oh no, we'll never know anything. We can never know anything about the world. We can never know anything about ourselves. This is trouble, right? And Descartes actually came up with this notion of this all-powerful demon hypothesis, in which he believed, well, what if there's this all-powerful demon that is manipulating reality such that you think you understand things but you don't, right? That was one of his contributions, right? And he used that to form the skeptical argument, in which then he later countered in his philosophy. So anyways, Descartes would say that there are two substances, mind and matter, right? And then the neuro-nihilist would say, no, there actually is no self. But Descartes would also he said, I think, therefore I am. And then people were like, whew, all right, we now have something strong we can hold on to. We at least exist in some form, way, or shape, right? At least if we exist on some level, then we can lay down the skepticism, and we can just kind of be and be a little more comfortable, I guess you could say, right? But then some later objections were raised against Descartes' argument, and that was the main one was, well, what if we might not exist? We might not even be the thinker thinking our own thoughts. And because here's the thing, Descartes' argument presupposes an I. All right, so when he says, I think, therefore I am, that's presupposing that there's an I to begin with. That's presupposing personhood to begin with. What if there is no I? And you might think, well, wait a minute, how could there not be an I, right? How could there not be one? I mean, that's just obvious, right? You wake up in the morning, you go to brush your teeth, you look at yourself in the mirror, and there's a person there, right? But maybe there's not, right? So Descartes presupposed an I and was able to deduce some logical conclusions from that notion. But then later objections basically said, hey, maybe there is no I, maybe we are not the thinker thinking our own thoughts, and that kind of brought skepticism back into the realm of the dualistic framework, right? Okay, so we've gone over Cartesian dualism. We've gone over some of the new dualism that talked about Behasker and Lowell. I don't want to really go too much into that because it's a little technical, and it's also not something that's going to be really relevant to this conversation. All right, so then we've done neuronihilism, which basically says there is no I, there is no person here, there is no being that exists. I am not the thinker thinking my own thoughts. I'm just, there is no. I can't even use the word I to describe myself because that it doesn't link with anything in reality. Then there's a psychological view of personhood, which I think is pretty cool. The psychological view says that a person has the following characteristics. They have psychological continuity, and they have first-person perspectives. Now, in philosophical discourse, psychological continuity means the ability to recall events from the past, so like memory, in temporal sequence. So to be able to say, hey, when I was 5 years old, X happened, and then, later on when I was, 20 years old, Y happened, right? As opposed to Y happening when you're 5 and X happening when you're 20. So you need psychological continuity, and you need first-person perspective, which is basically just the ability to, see things from an individual's perspective, right? In order for one to be classified as a person. Okay, so that's kind of neat, right? Now, what are the implications of that? Can anyone give me some of the implications of that? Like, what does that mean? If you need because this is super problematic and super relevant. If you need first-person perspective and psychological continuity, can anyone come up with a notion why this could be majorly a problem? Why this could be a major issue? If not, I'll help you out. It's a little tricky, but there's some very big ethical concerns that arise if you define someone. There you go. Yeah, Danny John's got it. Amnesia or any other memory type disorders, right? So, like let's say someone has dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that, right? Well, according to the psychological continuity view, you need that psychological continuity. Oh, thank you so much for following. Denmark Viking. Awesome. I love the name. Denmark Viking. That's a great name. All right. Awesome. Cool. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So for psychological continuity, if you had a problem with memory, right, or if you couldn't arrange your thoughts in from prior and before, which memories came before and which memories came after, then you would no longer be considered a person. So that means that everyone whose family is or has family members like in a nursing home, maybe or they're old and are confused, they have Alzheimer's or dementia. According to the psychological continuity view, they are not people anymore. Now that's kind of fucked up, and pardon my language, but it's a lot of. I'm not the only one that has issues with that. What do you people think? Like, what does everyone out there think? What does the chat think? I mean, if your family member, if your mother or father was in the nursing home, and couldn't remember anything, would they still be a person, and would they still have the rights and dignity that is afforded to all human beings? Or not? I mean, these are major issues because if the psychological continuity view, if the psychological view is right, and psychological continuity is something that is required for one to be deemed a person, then we have some major ethical things to think about. I mean, this is going to affect every area of our life, every facet of our being. I could see someone saying, well, in that dementia ward, they're not people anyway, so we should just, we should just let them all die, and we should do something else. Denying personhood and dignity can lead to eugenics, which is highly troubling. Frequently misunderstood. Yes, that's such an awesome, insightful point. Totally, you're right. If we start saying that that certain individuals are not people because they lack psychological continuity, they lack memory or something like that, then yeah, it can lead to major problems. And denying personhood and dignity, I mean, we've already seen this. We've seen this, we saw this in World War II. People just became numbers, right? You got the Jews got a number, written on their arm or tattooed on their arm, and now they no longer were considered people by the Nazis, and that of course led to all sorts of issues, right? If you're not considered a person, then people can pretty much treat you however they want and without culpability, right? Because you're not a person, you're not going to be protected under the law, and you also wouldn't feel as bad, to hurt another being if you didn't consider them like a fully functional, alive, person, right? You might treat them more of like at the animal level, or like the insect level even, or in the case of Nazi Germany, I mean, they were doing all sorts of horrific things, right? So that's really a good point, frequently misunderstood. And Danny John, you say, of course, maybe not the same person, but still a person. Yes, okay. I like that too, right? You would think, right, that if someone had dementia and didn't have psychological continuity anymore, that they would still be a person of some sort, right? But according to the psychological view, you're no longer a person if you have that. Now, okay, so you might think, well, that sounds insane, right? But let's take a softer example. Let's take an example like where someone's laying on their deathbed. Someone's comatose for life, right? Now, this is a much more relevant example because this happens all the time, right? Someone gets in a car accident, they had brain damage, and the doctor says to the family, "I'm sorry, your brother, your father, whatever, your brother's not going to ever be able to, come out of this coma. He's going to be trapped in this coma for life, right? Do you want to pull the plug, right? He's on life support." And then people kind of are like, well, I don't know. I mean, what kind of quality of life is that for him? That's kind of a tricky issue in itself. I mean, is that still a person, right? If someone is hooked up to a machine and is going to be on a machine for their entire existence and can never come off that machine or else they'll die. I mean, then what do we do? I mean, a lot of people say, well, they're suffering, so we should pull the plug. But the interesting thing is we don't know that they're suffering. They could be having the best time of their life. They could be like, wow, I wish I had gotten in that car accident years ago and been in this state because this is such a phenomenal existence, right? And then we just go and pull the plug and then it's just game over, right? Or, depending on what metaphysical assumptions you have about the, spirituality, right? So that's kind of interesting to think about, right? The notion of personhood and culpability, and all that. So those are three of the main views, right? Those are the three main views. Well, three of the four main views. The fourth view of personhood is that we are simply animals, and this view has a lot of pull in science. So, like in biology, people want to classify organisms as things, and they say, wait a minute, we have no evidence for a soul, we have no evidence for any of that kind of stuff. So we're just gonna say that everyone is a person because they're an animal. That's their fundamental nature is being an animal. And that's something kind of interesting to think about, right? So then you have all the different camps fighting with one another, right? So, the animal group is fighting with the psychological theory group, and the psychological theory group is fighting with the neural nihilism group, and the neural nihilism group is fighting with, with basically everyone, because everyone's like, what do you mean we don't exist? That doesn't make any sense, right? Uh, and then you have the dualist group, the Cartesian dualists, which have pretty much been shunned by everyone. But then you got the new dualism that is kind of tried to take up the cause, and they do answer some of the objections that Descartes could not answer, but at the same time they also don't fully address a lot of the concerns from a lot of the other major philosophers of the present day that study identity and personhood. So these are all kind of cool things and interesting things to think about. When I was in grad school, my professor, the one that I worked closest with, was a professor named Dr. Carl Gillett, and he did a lot with philosophy of mind. That was and metaphysics. Those were his two areas of expertise. And he was arguing for a fifth view, which said that our fundamental essence, that our nature, the nature of a person, is the human brain. So he said we don't need the whole animal, we just need the human brain, right? That brain, and he literally called it the brain view, right? Not the brain. Now this is something to be distinguished from the brain in the vat view. The brain in the vat view is simply a thought experiment that says, oh, we could all just be brains in vats. Somewhere, and we might not even have bodies. These could just be avatars of some sort, right? But Gillett's view was that no, we just are brains. We are that brain, and once that brain dies, then the person dies. So that's kind of an interesting little twist. I did push back though once on him because we're not. It doesn't make sense that we'd be just the brain. Hey, Swiss R's here. Excellent. Hey, Swiss. Good to see you. Let's give you a shout out. Yoga. Let's see if my shout out stuff's working. Oh, you got it. Danny John beat me. She beat me to the punch. All right. You get 2 shout outs, Swiss, because you're an awesome person. All right. So everyone go check out Swiss R's stream. He does all sorts of, he promotes all sorts of amazing content from the fitness and health Twitch community. Swiss R is like the ambassador of the fitness and health community. It's pretty cool. So, and he does it through fitness yoga. So check out Swiss R's stream if you get a chance. He's a really great person. He's always showing up to people's streams, and he just one of the most positive people that I've met here on Twitch. So thank you, Swiss R, for joining us today. But yeah, so we have the brain view that Carl Gillett was promoting, and then saying that our deeper kind is that we're a brain. That's like our fundamental essence, right, of personhood. And that's an interesting idea, right? Because it kind of takes everything of the psychological view and the animal view, but kind of just takes the best parts. But I was able to find a hole in his theory, and I said, well, wait a minute. It's not just the brain, but it's the brain and the central nervous system. If you're gonna go that line, if you're gonna take the variation that he was taking and saying that our deeper kind is simply a brain, you also have to include the central nervous system. Now, I think he did not have as good of an understanding of biology and molecular bio as me, because that's what I studied as an undergrad, molecular biology and psychology. So he didn't understand how the brain and the central nervous system were so interly connected, right? How the spine and all the neural input coming in was all basically could be seen as like one system, right? So I brought that up in class one day when I was talking with him. Coral Hug, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Welcome. Finally, yeah, I'm so grateful you're here. It's great that you're here. We're talking philosophy. We're talking about the different. No worries at all. No worries at all. Great to have you here. We're talking about the different philosophical views of personhood. The 4 main ones are neural nihilism, which says the person doesn't exist, which is kind of like a wild view for the Western mind, but like for Eastern culture, it's very, very normal, very typical. Like if you look at Buddhism and Taoism. Then we have the psychological view, which says we are psychological continuity, which is memory, and in conjunction with first person perspective, which is also pretty cool. And then we have the animal view, which says we're simply animals. We are just a natural kind. The human being, the person, is a natural kind, and we should draw a distinction between the person and the human being, right? Because science is gonna demarcate and delineate all the different groups in any ways that it seems that is going to be productive. But for our benefit, for our purposes, we're talking about just simply personhood. Okay, so yeah, and so those were three of the views, and then animal, neuronihilism, psychological, and then I can't think of the fourth one though. Then we were talking about the brain view as well. The brain view is and Cartesian dualism actually, which was Descartes' view. Descartes said, there's just mind and matter. There are two substances. Those are the only things that exist, mind and matter, and it's just a matter of the relationship between the two. Trying to figure out, how mind and matter actually are related and go together, which is kind of an awesome mystery actually if you think about it, right? I mean, we don't know how mind and matter. We don't know that relationship. We don't know the intricacies of it. We don't know how exactly mind can affect matter. I mean, we do know on some levels, right? But not in the full perspective. So those were the four views. My professor was talking about the brain view, which was what he was trying to promote. I don't think he ever really got anywhere with it because it just never gained traction. I think it's kind of a cool view, but you have to include the central nervous system if you're going to include the brain, and then it starts getting a little sketchy because then where do you draw the line, right? I mean, are we talking about just axons and dendrites, or what are we talking about here, right? We're talking. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you love the CNS and the PNS. Absolutely. There's a lot to think about, right? When we want to think about personhood, there's just so much that goes into the equation, right? Like for one, I had a grandmother who was in the nursing home with Alzheimer's, right? And she had dementia as well. And she couldn't remember shit. But at the same time, she's still my grandma, and I'm still going to treat her with the same love, compassion, and dignity that I would for any other person, and because she's still a person in my mind, right? But the psychological view says she's not a person, and we could just do whatever we want with her because it doesn't matter, and there'd be no culpability. So that kind of blows my mind, right? So that's something to think about as well. All right. With that said. Are there any questions at all, or should we move on to JT Farms thought-provoking discussion? Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite areas of philosophy, and that's looking at identity of personhood, and it's a really interesting subject. We don't really have anything hammered out yet, right? We have a lot of people entrenched in very strong camps, right? You have the animal view. That's usually espoused by the biologists and scientifically oriented people. And then you have the neuronihilism view, which is espoused by Eastern religion, Eastern philosophy, but also neuroscientists, which is pretty cool. It's cool that there's crossover between the neuroscientists and the Buddhists and the Taoists. I thought that's pretty interesting, right? And then you have the psychological view, which is typically promoted by psychologists, and people of that sort. And then you have the the dualist view, which is not very widely promoted these days. The new dualism, like I said earlier, if you want to check it out, check out Hasker and Lowe. They both wrote some papers on new dualism and are trying and have come up with some ways around the objections to traditional Cartesian dualism, and it's kind of neat to check them out. JT Farms, you say you can be in any one of those views. I know, I'm the same way, right? It's so weird. Like my metaphysical views about the nature of personhood change so often, right? They change all the time, and I never know. I never know what I'm going to believe from day to day, right? A lot of it depends to me on just how I feel, and and the experiences I've had in my life, and maybe even the experiences I've had that day. Some days I just want to believe that there is no such thing as a person, that it's an imaginary construct, and that we are not the thinker thinking our own thoughts. And then some days I think, hell yeah, I'm the thinker. I'm thinking my own thoughts. I'm looking at myself in the mirror. I'm a person. It would be absurd to think otherwise, right? Let's see what we're saying here. Krog Fancy and JT Farms, me too. That's great. Allowing yourself to cultivate those experiences and awareness. Totally, absolutely. Yeah, it's a good point. So those are the views, and I think we're good to go. Let's hop into a meditation, and let's try to set our intention for what it means to be a person, right? Yeah, it's time to meditate, right? That's why we're here. We're here to do philosophy, and we're here to do meditation. And for those of you who have not checked out the stream before, Coral Hug, I know that you said this was your first time popping in. What I typically do is I discuss philosophy at the beginning of the stream, and then we do meditation, and I try to bring in the left brain analytic philosophy into the more right brain meditative state. So I feel like if we can hit it on both angles, there's more of a chance of absorption of the material. And Salsi's here. Hey, Salsi, good to see you. Awesome. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Well, we got everyone here today. This is great. We have a great group of people here. Yeah, and I'm giving. By the way, I have it set up so that you get two shout outs, Salsi, today. That's what it is. It's two shout out Wednesday. So everyone's going to be getting their shout outs. All right. Okay, so let's do it. Let's get into meditation. Now, I have a Buddhist chant track that I love to play whenever I do the meditations. The Buddhist chant track has a chime that goes off every 2 seconds, so it can help you regulate your breath count. And I feel it's really important to regulate your breath count when you meditate, because it helps you kind of get in the natural state, that natural flow, and then you can really start journeying inward to your foundational essence, right? So that's something that we want to really that's really helpful. All right, so I'm gonna play it. Before I do, you'll want to get in a nice, comfortable seated position, and you can sit on the floor in lotus pose. You can sit with your back against the wall, if that feels comfortable for you. You can sit in a chair, if that feels comfortable for you. Whatever feels best for you. You can lie down, but be careful that you don't get too relaxed and fall asleep. You just want to kind of be mindful of where you're sitting and comfortable with where you're at. Yeah, Celsi, you know what? You're not the only person to say this. It's so funny. It's so funny, right? I've had other people say that it looks like I've had horns with the light reflecting how it is. It's kind of interesting, and I actually have this cushion, this pillow cushion, and it makes me even look like I have horns even more. Let's see if I can. How's that? Does that look more hornish or less hornish? Yeah, I know, right? I mean, I guess I gotta just accept it, right? Maybe I just have horns. Maybe I'll be the good guy, the meditation instructor with horns. That could be my thing, my gimmick or whatever, right? Yeah, I know, a cape. If I could get a cape to go with them, that would be really cool. That would be awesome. I need a cape. I need to put the horns on. I mean, maybe that's what I've been missing this whole time, right? Maybe I don't have enough props, right? I don't know. Just kind of sit back, maybe like this. I don't know. That looks kind of good. Yeah, frequently misunderstood, horny meditation, right? That's true. And when Danny John came on here the one day, and when Danielle came on here the one day and did her thing on positive psychology, she had the pillow behind her, and she was getting a lot of feedback from people saying that it looked like she had horns as well. So just no hate for the horns, please. That's all I ask. Let's give as much love to the horns as possible, And ears? You think they're ears? I don't know. A lot of people are saying they look like horns, Danny John. I'm not sure. But we don't want haters here. We want to love everyone, even if you have horns. Even if you have horns, you are worthy of love. And that is pretty much that's going to be the take home of this whole meditation and philosophical discussion, is that you want to have love for those with horns. All right? Can we all at least agree to that? Can we all wholesome? Yes. Look like elf ears. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe red elf ears. Yeah, I can see the elf ears. I can see the elf ears. All right. So let's have love for all the people with horns out there, because they're trying their best too. And let's meditate. Thank you all so much for being here. So getting in a nice, comfortable seated position. And gently close your eyes. And inhale through your nose, gently raising your belly. And exhale through your mouth, gently lowering your belly. And breathe in through your nose, gently raising your abdomen. And breathe out through your mouth, gently lowering your abdomen. Stay true to your breath count throughout the remainder of this meditation. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth. The chime goes off every 2 seconds. Use it to maintain a regular breath count throughout the remainder of this practice. Inhale through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. Breathe in 4, 6, 8. Breathe out 4, 6, 8. Stay true to your breath. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Now, as you breathe in, visualize positive energy flowing into your body, healing and nourishing every cell in your being. And as you exhale through your mouth, visualize negative energy being expelled through your mouth and released from your body. Inhale. 4, 6, 8. Exhale. 4, 6, 8. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in, visualizing love and light flowing into your body. And breathe out, releasing all the ego framework and darkness. Inhale through your nose, filling your vessel with pure light. And exhale, shining away all the darkness. When one light is lit, there can be no darkness. When one mind unites with another, there can be no hate. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. Exhale. When we go out into the external world, we search for many things. We search for love, we search for peace, we search for money, we search for truth. The external world is the place that we look to try to fill any holes or voids within us. That's how we've been taught through our lives. But with meditation, we delve inward. We come to the source of creation that exists deep within ourself, and we realize that everything we've ever wanted or needed is already there. When we pursue things in the external world, by a manifestation, law of attraction, any of that, we might be able to acquire things, but will those things actually make us happy? Or is true happiness part of our nature? Is true happiness part of our joy, part of our essence? Is joy part of our oneness? Inhale through your nose, gently raising your belly. And exhale through your mouth, choosing to identify with your perfect peace. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out through your mouth. Stay true to your breath counts throughout the remainder of this meditation. Now, as you breathe in, focus on a ball of light within your chest cavity. Do not look at anything else or look away from that light. All your attention should be focused on that light that burns within you. For that light is truth and will never lead you astray. You are a child of love and light. That is your essence. You are eternal. You are immutable. You're omnipresent. You're omniscient. You just have to realize it. So inhale through your nose, gently raising your belly. And exhale through your mouth, gently lowering your belly. Grace Yoga, thank you. I'm in the middle of a meditation, but I'll get to you later. Breathe in through your nose, gently raising your abdomen. And breathe out through your mouth, gently lowering your abdomen. We are one with the divine if we so choose to be. We are perfect love. We are perfect light. When we look at the attributes of our essence, such as perfection, oneness, immutability, omnipresence, omniscience, when we identify with the divine, we become one with the divine. The question that we started the stream with was what it means to be a person. And I think that question misfires from the start. For our notion of personhood is a social construct and is radically different from what the real question should be. Not what it means to be a person, not what that deeper kind is, but what it means to be you. Inhale through your nose, gently raising your belly. And exhale through your mouth, gently lowering your belly. Breathe in through your nose, gently raising your abdomen. And breathe out through your mouth, gently lowering your abdomen. Your essence is love. And when you come into contact with people in the external world, that is the part of them that you want to connect with. When we let ourselves get distracted by ego concerns, the interactions we have with others become strained and difficult. But when we let the ego go and connect with the source of them that is pure oneness, the consequence is that we share love and light, and then that love and light can be spread to other people as well. That is our goal. Inhale through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose, focusing on the inner light within you. And breathe out through your mouth, releasing all that does not serve you well. And I say all that does not serve you well because I want to draw an important distinction. You have two voices you can listen to. You have the voice of truth that is at your foundational core, that is the divine, and you have the voice of the ego. The voice of truth gives you everything you need, tells you who you are, reminds you that you have never left home and that you're still in a state of oneness and perfect peace. The voice that is so loud and blaring, and especially in this day and age, is the voice from the illusory dualistic framework in which we seem to inhabit. And that's the voice that tries to keep us distracted and not focus on the inner truth within each one of us. The voice of the divine, that is the light at our core center, is where we go to seek refuge when we realize we have strayed into the ego world. Focus on the light. Focus on the love. That is your essence. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Your essence is love. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth. Your essence is light. Inhale, filling your belly with oxygen. And exhale, releasing all that does not serve you well. The ego mind may say that it serves you well, but it will always lead you astray. It will never give you what you truly need. The mind of the light within you, the mind of oneness, that part of you will always bring truth to you. Inhale through your nose, gently raising your belly. Exhale through your mouth, allowing yourself to be served by the divine. Breathe in through your nose, recognizing the light that exists within you, and breathe out through the mouth, releasing all the ego. We breathe in light and love, such that it merges with our core, and we exhale all ego delusion that keeps us imprisoned within this framework. We inhale all truth that merges with the oneness that we already have, and we exhale all delusion. It was the Buddha that said life is suffering, and that attachments keep us prisoner to the external world. And I believe he was right. For when we say we need X to occur to be happy, or we need Y to occur in order to feel less pain or less fear, we are putting conditions on our peace. But when we meditate and go within and see that we have everything we need for perfect peace and love, we just have to choose to accept it. That is when we become whole once again. Inhale through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. Your essence is love. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. You are light. Inhale through your nose. Exhale. You are eternal. Inhale. Exhale. You are divine. You are one with the source of creation. Even if you choose not to be, you still are. There's no other choice. Perceptually, you may choose to see yourself as a separated part of the whole. But because oneness can never be separated and deconstructed into separate parts, it will be a vain attempt. So when you breathe in through your nose and recognize that you will always be eternal, that's when you uncover who you truly are. Inhale through your nose, focusing on the beautiful golden light within you. And exhale through your mouth, releasing all the ego. Inhale through your nose, visualizing all the attachments that bind you to this dualistic framework. Exhale through your mouth and allow those attachments to burn away. Inhale through your nose, focus on your light, and exhale through your mouth. Your essence is love. Breathe in. 4, 6, 8. Breathe out. 4, 6, 8. Inhale. 4, 6, 8. Exhale. 4, 6, 8. Stay true to your breath count. Stay true to your light. Stay true to your nature. Your nature is love, eternally. When we meditate together and connect with the part of us that is one with all, we become one with all for eternity. All the ego disappears because that which is not true cannot stand in the face of truth. And we come back to the quiet place within us in which love resides. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, focusing on the light, and exhale, releasing all the ego. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose, staying true to your breath count, and breathe out through your mouth, releasing all attachment to the external world. You are love. You are light. are eternal. You are perfection. Take the biggest inhale of the day through the nose, filling your vessel with as much love and light as possible. And the biggest exhale of the day, releasing all anxiety, fear, and worry from your being. Gently open your eyes and return to the present moment, bringing with you the peace from this meditation throughout the remainder of the day. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing this holy space with me today. I am eternally grateful. Namaste, Swiss. Yes. Namaste. This is the best thing we can possibly do for ourselves, is to journey inward and explore all the uncomfortable regions and observe them. We have a penchant to shy away from things that are painful and that are difficult. But in meditation and yoga, we don't run away from those painful and uncomfortable things. We go into them. We explore them. We see, in meditation, we see what thoughts we don't want to deal with, and we confront them, and we resolve the issue, because that's the point. We want to go in there and resolve the cause of any problems that we're having in our external world and in our internal states. And then same thing with yoga. In yoga, we want to explore those tight, uncomfortable areas in the body in which we're holding stress. Even though they may be tight and uncomfortable and painful to go into, we still want to go into those so we can work them out and release those areas and be at peace on a bodily and mental level. Grace yoga, yes, it's so true. I love that. I love that emote. I'm just so grateful that all of you showed up today. Grace, thank you so much, so much for the raid. That was incredibly kind. I'm just filled with a wealth of love and happiness. And we're doing the double shout out day today. So you get two shout outs for your raid. Yes, this was wonderful. Thank you. Oh, and we have a new follow. Nika Morder. Nick, I can't talk today. I'm just in too peaceful of a state. I'm too happy. I'm too joyous to even process analytic, verbal reasoning right now. So I'm just, sometimes when I'm in meditation and yoga and I get out of that state, and I stop the meditation and yoga, it's hard for me to even do the most basic tasks for a while. And I kind of feel like I'm there right now with all the love that everyone in this chat has given me. So thank you so much, everyone, and thank you for the follow, Nika Mord. I'll get it right one of these days. Sorry about that. Just give me a little time. I'll definitely get it right. You are all so much appreciated, and I love you all. And my goal with Evolve Yourself TV, by the way, my name is Agni James. I'm part of Evolve Yourself TV, and my goal is to spread as much meditation to people as possible, to try to help them to find more peace and love and light in their lives through meditation, and to try to help them detach themselves from external events, states of affairs, and things that are causing them suffering and that have been causing them suffering for a long time. That's the goal of Evolve Yourself TV. That's what we're trying to do here. So I'm going to continue spreading the love, and thank you all. Let's see who we're going to rate today. Oh, also, if you haven't clicked follow, I'd greatly appreciate it. A follow. I'm trying to grow the channel. This is the one plug that I'll do per episode. So yeah, hit follow or subscribe if you want to support the channel. Okay, see, Check Meow is doing something live. Oh, Kittens is doing something live. I don't know. Let's see. Kittens is he still streaming? Yeah. You know what? Check Me Out. She's wonderful, but she always does her reruns. So she gets plenty of people, and she's got 54 right now. So we can always check her out on the rerun. I want to check. Let's go to Kittens. Kittens really could use a boost here, I think, and I want to help him out today. I want to do something nice. He's been so welcoming and kind to me. So let's help out Kittens. Give Kittens a big shout out, big raid, and I love you all. You were all one with me, and I'm all one with you. Thank you so much. Namaste.